Good morning, everybody. I'm Charlie Boring, practitioner for today, and I know that during the hour more people will show up as they realize what time it is. But anyway, we're going to have an opening song by George Rogers. So let's welcome George. Yay.
Thank you. Aren't you proud? You're saving daylight. Here we are, daylight's being saved, and it's all our doing. I've got a couple songs, but this one is by Mary Chapin Carpenter, and it's not new, but nothing I do is new. Can I get a little more guitar? Now in this world there's a whole lot of trouble, baby. In this world there's a whole lot of pain. In this world there's a whole lot of trouble, but a whole lot of ground to gain. Why take when you could be given? Why watch as the world goes by? It's a hard enough life to be living. Why walk when you could fly? In this world there's a whole lot of sorrow. In this world there's a whole lot of pain. In this world there's a whole lot of sorrow, but a whole lot of ground to gain. When you spend your whole life wishing, wanting and wondering why, it's a long enough life to be living. Why walk when you could fly? In this world there's a whole lot of gold, and in this world there's a whole lot of plain. In this world you've a soul for a compass and a heart for a pair of wings. There's a star on the far horizon, rising bright in an azure sky. For the rest of your time that you're given, why walk when you could fly?
Thank you, George. So if there's anybody new today, we welcome you. And if you would like a information packet, our ushers in the back have information packets. And if you'd like a tour of the grounds, there's a number of us that'd be willing to, we would love to walk you around the grounds and show you what we have. We have a beautiful campus here with a wonderful meditation pavilion and a children's cottage in the back. And we have a landscape team that works very hard to keep everything up to date and looking clean. And so we had a wonderful day yesterday just working around the grounds. So really, really appreciate that. So at this point, we're going to invite the children up and we'll sing them out to their class. As well as we can turn around and wave to the camera. We have people who are online, whether it be through YouTube or Facebook Live. So just wave to Lindy. Yeah. we're singing to the children of the world. All the children that need love and support. We hold them in our heart. Thank you. And we know that some children arrive late, so they'll just show up, and we've already set the consciousness for them. So if you have an electronic device that may go off, if you can silence that, we appreciate that. And I'd like to thank everybody that's in service today. We have the sound booth, Lindy and Joey. We have the ushers and the greeters, and we have kitchen cookies. And today's a big day because we have our annual congregational meeting. It's going to be, we call it 11:30-ish. So around 11:30 we'll start, but after the service, if you want to get a snack or visit somebody in the social hall, go ahead and do that. And then we'll come back in, but we're going to be setting up for the PowerPoint presentation and just sort of getting ready for the annual meeting. And if you can't stay, but you haven't voted by proxy, you can still do that today on your way out. So we appreciate your attendance for that. So we have a Sacred Sisters tomorrow night, March 11th, 7 to 8:30. The men's group with Roy is going to be tomorrow night as well here at the center, 7 to 9. They go a little bit longer. Then we have an event coming up with Reverend Lynn Fritz. It's Tuesday, March 12th, 6:30 to 7:30. And so you're invited to, if you experience grief and you need some processing by connecting through music and poetry, Lynn's offering this service here in the sanctuary. And so it's 1 hour, but there'll be candles and silence and pretty music and contemplation. And then there'll be a ritual where you can kind of burn up that grief and place it out into the universe. So it's a very beautiful service, and we invite you to attend that. And again, we have Crystal Bowl's Sound Healing Bath with Irene Balmer this Friday, and that's here in the sanctuary from 6:30 to 8. And so it's a wonderful process where we clear the sanctuary of all the chairs. We have crystal bowls set up in the center, and Irene sort of goes through the chakras with sound, and it's a very beautiful sound healing experience. And the lights are dimmed down low, and it's actually very, very moving. And so we invite you to attend that if you haven't done it before. And no one's turned away. And then we have the congregational support team update. So Maggie Fisher has taken over this role for congregational support. So if you see where there's a need for someone to have support in our community, contact Maggie, and we can get you her phone number from the board desk. And so just checking with that. And then we have another SOAR event, the Spirit of Adventure Renewed. So that's going to be Saturday, March 16th. They're going to do a short waterfall hike, including Bernie Falls, Montgomery Creek Falls, and 2 others up in that area. So that'll be March 16th, and you can check in with Cher on that. Then we have Journey of the Soul. It's a class from Christy Carr, one of our practitioners, starting March 21st. You can read about that in your program. And then we have Speak Your Truth, Poetry and Prose Night coming up again on March 22nd. It's a wonderful opportunity to kind of get over any nervousness you may have about being on stage. And then you can share what's in your heart, whether it be a story or a poem, music. But, the other aspect of this wonderful experience is just coming and listening. So don't feel like you have to perform if you come. The audience is part of the performance. So it's a wonderful experience. I think we've attended every single one. I've only shared once, but this time I think I'm on the hook to do something, right, Steve? I keep saying I'm going to, but so that's coming up, and then we have the spring equinox and Sue may speak to this a little bit later, but that's going to be on Saturday, March 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the center. So we're going to gather and celebrate the earth and the beginning of spring. I'm just reading what you wrote. We use this time to gather in a wisdom circle and share poetry and music together, even dance if we want to. We will also create beautiful mandalas to express our gratitude to the sacred time. So let's have fun together, quoting Sue. So we will have fun together. We all show up and we support the change in time and the seasons, and it's a new beginning, as it is every single moment. So that's it for the announcements. And so we're going to invite Lori up to do the reading, and then we'll invite the bell, and during the invitation of the bell, try and listen to the end of the sound of the bell between each ring, and then just allow that to permeate within you and go in a little bit deeper. And so it's setting up the sacred time for today's message. And then we'll have a prayer. I don't see Shirley today, so I'm going to do it. And then we'll have our message from Sue, which is up until now. Okay, Lori?
I was sharing with Dr. Mary that I saw the cutest thing over the weekend, and it said, why couldn't the government have been smart enough to have set the start of daylight saving time on Friday at 4 o'clock? So that just made me look at the whole thing in a bit more positive light. So the reading chosen by Reverend Sue this morning is A Morning Offering by John O'Donohue. I bless the night that nourished my heart to set the ghosts of longing free into the flow and figure of dream that went to harvest from the dark bread for the hunger no one sees. All that is eternal in me welcomes the wonder of this day, the field of brightness it creates, offering time for each thing to arise and illuminate. I place on the altar of dawn the quiet loyalty of breath, the tent of thought where I shelter, waves of desire I am sure to see, and all beauty drawn to the eye. May my mind come alive today to the invisible geography that invites me to new frontiers, to break the dead shell of yesterdays, to risk being disturbed and changed. May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more.
Please join with me in knowing that there is just one Spirit, one love, one God everywhere present. And that this presence, this knowing, flows through each and every one of us, as us, in the most unique and most beautiful way, as described like on the waves of the ocean, and the ocean being spirit. And so I know for each of us here today that we walk into this sanctuary knowing that we are supported by the love that's gone on in this sanctuary for so many years. All the support, the community that we have here today is built on love. And so on the topic of today's talk, which is up until now, we simply ask, so what's next? What is next? So we allow ourselves to go deeper into reflection, into our soul, into ourself, as we answer the question and as we listen to the words of Reverend Sue. We allow our heart to penetrate and reflect and to know that the answer is there, for the answer is within spirit, within God. So I allow this time to be a deep time of reflection, of love, and of appreciation for this community, for this teaching, for all that occurs here in this center. So giving thanks for today, knowing that we're here to celebrate together as community, only as community can, the richness of this place and the richness of this community and of this greater community of Redding and Shasta County. So we are the jewel, we are the beacon, we are the light. So giving thanks, I release this prayer into law, knowing full well it is so, and together we say with joy, and so it is. Reverend Sue?
All right, good morning. Okay, here we go. This daylight thing that they do, I start worrying about it in February. So let me do my I promise to do my very best. Okay, but this idea of up until now has always been one of my favorite expressions in this teaching, and it's really great to interrupt somebody when they're going down their story and you just say, up until now. Wait, what? That was your story, that was your truth up until now. But just as Charlie said, what's next? And that's a very profound piece of wisdom right there. I could end the talk right, just having you contemplate your own experience. But the spiritual journey that we're all on has been inviting us each new day to start fresh, to really begin each day anew. And I love John O'Donohue's poetry and some of his writings. He's just a profound thinker. And this is the book that we're focusing on this month, and there's a few in the bookstore if you're curious about more of his poetry to inspire your mornings. But I realize that as hard as we try, we seem to be still driven by past and old patterns that seem to keep calling us. And yet our response really should be, when we hear ourselves backtracking, is to recognize that each and every one of you are here in this journey of life to be spiritual warriors, to take that on wholeheartedly and to discern what that means for you personally. Because we're making these bold choices each and every moment to be willing to look at who we are today. Today is the day you have. So these questions: what shapes us? Who inspired us? Who wounded us? Whom did we inspire? Whom did we wound? And who cares anyway? That can come up. because the past is over and let's just bury it. Now, that's that cancel culture. I don't get cancel culture. I've worked too hard on digging into the past to cancel it all. But that is working for certain generations. Just cancel it. You hurt me, I don't like you, and that's it. How do they feel about forgiveness? How do they feel? What's going to happen later? So it's a curious culture to follow, and I'm not going to go there, but I don't completely understand it is why, so I shouldn't be speaking on it. But there's always, I believe, something that's festering in all of our hearts, in our soul. It festers there. A sense of something doesn't feel complete. I'm not doing something. And I seem to keep meeting the same karmic patterns. This energy is carrying over into my new experiences of today. And I've tried so hard to suppress or ignore those old relationships, my old behaviors. But they're still festering. So the wisdom of Ram Dass echoes this. If we hold grudges, if we don't practice forgiveness, our work on releasing our unfinished business, our karma will play out in other ways, or just leave us more stuck. If instead we cultivate being in the present, the awareness of this moment is stronger than the memories of the past, and brings a spaciousness that can surround and dissolve old traumas. Ram Dass. That was from a book he wrote about being Ram Dass. Now, many people continue to this day having these revelations, having this truth, but there's something about the way Ram Dass was able to really speak these words for many of our generations of life experience that we really could take to heart and make a change in our lives. So here we are in this fascinating time, this thing that we call life, and those of us here are on this path. And I recognize and I honor each one of you who is releasing the past with full awareness. That's what it takes. And claiming for yourself a fresh new day. There's The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, and he said, those who have hurt you in the past cannot continue to hurt you now unless you hold on to the pain through resentment. Your past is past. Nothing will change it. You are only hurting yourself with bitterness. For your own sake, learn from it, then let it go. We take a breath with that. I know sometimes I'm up here saying different ideas and different angles of a spiritual truth from many others that I feel is really relevant and important to share with you. There's a lot to chew on, and sometimes what I say can sting, can go, I don't want that to be true. I don't want to do that. That hurts. But it is in that knowing that we excel our progress on the path. And the thrill of it all is not to get tangled in any story, but to choose that very day to take responsibility and to learn, and now feel blessed by whatever was. And now there's a creative adventure arising, because as you think it all the way through, your creative thought, that idea of your true nature is longing for a new idea. And if you can let go of all of the shame and blame that underlies and deep in our subconscious that kind of shrinks down your potentiality, you can realize, I'm free of that, I'm free of that, and I have possibilities of that await me to fulfill my truest self. And then we choose that divine inspiration at that moment. It's going to lead us with an assurance to thrive in our new beginnings. which adds the caveat, the difficult part of letting go. So I realized that phrase, letting go, is pretty much easy to absorb and take on when we're at peace with ourselves. But it is the most annoying thing to hear when you're in chaos, right? Somebody will say it and you're just like, get out of here. You don't understand. And we don't want to go there, not quite yet. But it's really the whisper of spirit when anybody says that to you. Oh, my beloved, let go. Let go. Move on, let go. The notion of releasing the past is usually the hiccup that causes some kind of mumbling to go on into our minds. And we start to think, if I have to let go, if I have to forgive, then never mind. I'm not ready for that. If I have to own my part in something, then never mind. If I have to change, never mind. It's so easy for us to call all those resistant patterns that can come up, that we've gotten comfortable in along our journey of life, but we're really not comfortable. You see, that's that certain something that keeps calling inside of us, nagging at us. And we get sometimes attached to our ways of dealing with life. And as Buddha taught, and many of the other faith paths are equally aligned with this, that the root of all suffering is that attachment that we place on whatever is. It's just the idea of freedom is letting it go. So think for a moment, your own life. Fill in the blank. What's going to set you free? Up until now, you have always, fill in that blank. So interesting how those two words, in blaming something, can spark an argument. Are you ready for it? You always. That's Charlie's and my favorite. Oh boy, I could be in the other room and I'll say, you always. And then I can hear him. And then I'm thinking, it just came out. But he'll say it back to me, you always. I get indignant. No, I don't always. Right? You're going, oh, those two in the universe. No one wants to hear that. You always. So boxed in. You're so boxed in with it. And so you realize that you always is saying you have predictable behavior. You're stuck. And that's why you're annoying me. And you can think, it just feels so, to me, so crushing on a certain level. So I realize that none of us want that insult, and the deep self inside of us doesn't want it either. Think about your relationship with your higher self. The past is reconciled for our greater good, and we can skillfully craft our way into learning the new ideas, new insights, new guidance, and taking it on. And that's where we let curiosity start to inform us, to awaken us, to give us that enthusiasm, and set up another course of action for ourselves, and to calm down the mental storms of emotion. And we can stop and breathe there. And we can start to gather our tools of spirituality to invest ourselves deeper and deeper into who we are and who we want to be. And we can let some of the emotions just finally run their course if we're willing to hang in there and discern what they're trying to tell us, because there's a deeper message. And we're not going to get that message unless we spend some time being mindfully aware of what's leading this mental storm, this emotional chaos. What's leading it? Because up until now, most of us have allowed our untrained mind to just let it be. So, the next call on your journey. This is according to a Rabbi Leib. And I love this because in his words, in his tradition from the Kabbalah, it is the call to go to yourself, a call for self-realization. This is the message of your soul, to listen to the voice within that is calling you inward. That sounds familiar. Valerie Carr, who we've mentioned many times, she wrote the beautiful book, You See No Stranger. She says, what is the place in your body where you're not yet living? Can you put your attention there? Can you close your eyes and just say, what is she talking about? Where am I not living in my body? Right now it's my shoulders. And we breathe there, we go there, we settle there. And she goes on to say, sometimes we just need to stay there, breathe there, and slowly allow awareness to come. Sometimes we're ready to feel more and more of our own sensations. Be curious. What is the story that you have told about that part of your body? And what is the new story ready to emerge? Now, my shoulder tension, I've declared it for years. It's when I was in driver's ed. Mr. Mendoza was my teacher, and I almost hit every bumper in the student parking lot. And he said, 10-4, remember 10-4? No, it's not that. You got to look at those manuals now. If you're going to take a DMV test, better study up, because it's not from what we remember in the past at all. So just a heads up there for those of you that are facing that. So, but imagine the spaciousness of what Valerie Carr is inviting us to feel. This idea, again, of being fully present. Because when you're fully present, there's your power. That's the power. That's the new beginning. That's what O'Donohue reminds us from last week. That new beginning unfurling inside of us, before us. And there's another idea here. And this particular statement, as I start to say it, you can even watch how arrogant my face becomes. Because I kind of act holy when I say it to others. I'm quoting Earnest Holmes. Principle is not bound by precedent. That wows a lot of people. And I feel so self-righteous when I say it. And it took me a while to even know what was I saying. But that statement has such a powerful impact when we really say, oh yeah, I get that. Because I know at the beginning my ego would show up in that. But then I realized, wait a minute, this is really a statement of taking ownership of what we're talking about today, ownership of your own life and your way through it. Because we're not bound by what was. We're only enlightened by it. Whew, that's flipping the coin. That's already setting you free. If you start to feel the burden, if you start to feel constricted by thinking of these things, when you look deeply into it, when you start to go into that place and realize, I'm about to be enlightened here, if I'll stay with it, if I'm willing to, and clarity will direct a sense of courage. And you'll start to realize then there you're making skillful decisions because you're doing the deep work. And this is cultivating the qualities of loving kindness and compassion that makes us wonderful human beings. So Earnest Holmes, his philosophy here, to back this all up, as we have proven that principle, here I go again, is not bound by precedent, we go into the realm which says, behold, I make all things new. not carrying with us that limited belief of the reason why it cannot be. We all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphant above them, but we shall never triumphant over them while we persist in going through old mental reactions. We're all carrying the negative experiences of our past into the future merely because we have not disconnected them from our mind. If we're creating a negative future, it's because we have not changed our thought about it. And releasing the weight of the past, limiting beliefs and judgments, frees us to rise up in faith, which is a mental assertion elevated to the plane of realization. That's what faith is, according to Earnest Holmes. So all of those ideas, back when he was inspiring so many people that were hungry for the same wisdom, and we've got it today, and we've got it today from so many wise sages and scholars of spirituality in our own day and time. So I invite us here today to leave this day knowing that we don't have to keep repeating these old patterns, these imprinted reactions that seem to drive us, our choices from yesteryears, that we'd start realize my life is longing to be repatterned and free from suffering of that old, stale, stinking thinking. This is your freedom. This is freedom. And today we claim to choose to start bearing witness to the unexplored terrain of our own life patterns. Let go and let the divine be that which inspires your thoughts and leads the way. Now, one of the greater organizations, CSL's ministers that framed some of the outline of thoughts to share with congregations on this, Reverend Lynn Nowicki from Oklahoma City, she brought this one quote about I've always, is an invitation to stay comfortable in our discomfort. It's an invitation to stay comfortable in our discomfort and stuck in a rut. If we were saying, I've always done it that way. But then she brought up Ellen Glasgow, who said, the only difference between a rut and a grave are the dimensions. Oh, you see, Wendy? I know it makes you go, wait, say what? Say what? So deep healing of consciousness begins when we start to fully explore the cause and the root of our suffering. And what is it that we need to change? What do we want to change? And a discovery of some of these inner sufferings will always bring an insight. And that'll increase your awareness. And that'll initiate you on a path of healing. This is what practitioners do. They help you find your way. They'll listen with great loving respect to your story. But they don't leave you in the story. They take you back. When did that start? Oh, is that important? Yeah. So, another whole message there. But we want this enlightened understanding, right? We want to wake up today in this time period of our lives and align our creative energies with that divine intelligence that's forever inspiring us, forever downloading. Because everything, when we start to live this way, everything is holy now. That beautiful Karen Drucker song, everything is holy now. You can allow that to just be the words that just move through you throughout the day. Every time you get upset about something, everything is holy now. Because I'm choosing this day to see anew. And that's what we want to invest our energy in. That's where our place of growth is. So any of the wailing that has gone on up until now will not get the juice of your attention any longer. Not after you've heard and really taken in the ideas here today. Because you're getting the attention now, as you think about your life, you're getting the attention of the universal energy which is so much greater than any of the small problems along the way of your lifetime. And you've got this greater support in a new direction, a new power, a new idea, a new pattern of acceptance. All of this is forming in this brilliant brain that we all have. And the old ruts of old thinking, they start to atrophy. Yay, God, for that. Paramahansa Yogananda, where there is light, through the power of deep concentration, trained attention, any habit may be installed. That is, new patterns may be made in the brain. If you really want to rid yourself of the present bad habits, you have no greater recourse than meditation. Every time you meditate deeply on God, the beneficial changes are taking place in the patterns of the brain. So consider the possibilities here. You're no longer the puppet. You're no longer the puppet and reacting to mind states you've gotten used to. You're no longer hooked by your ego control. You're releasing anxiety and frustration, anger and irritation, worry and insecurity, and doubt. That sounds juicy. I'm in for that. You're even letting go of feeling full of yourself and being stubborn along the way. So it's this restlessness that we feel inside sometimes that's really a divine call, a divine pull. And you don't want to get comfortable with that restlessness. You want to look at that uncomfortable nature and make a difference, make a change. Think of the possibilities and get rid of that push-pull of all those emotional states that are draining so much energy and say, today I choose to stay centered in spirit now. Everything is holy now. You react to life then from a responsive mind instead of a reactive mind. And that idea is framed, that part of you carries your core values. It's just, you know that part of you because it discerns what is right action. Because God is good. Some of you got that. There's another 17th century Kabbalist that writes, search and discover the root of your soul so that you can fulfill it and restore it to its source, its essence. The more you fulfill yourself, the closer you approach your authentic self. I love to, as I'm preparing a talk, is to pour through different faith paths and say, what do they have to say about this? And it dovetails. It dovetails with everything in this philosophy of science of mind. So this wisdom to rise above our own wisdom and link our understandings with the spiritual truth and share that in a divine wisdom to fill us up to the very brim of our being, and that's where our faith stirs. So now's the time to not cling to what was up until now, but dive into that illuminating path of following truth. This is known to all of us as spiritual transformation, the journey of self-realization. Years ago when I was 19, I started self-realization with Paramahansa Yogananda. I didn't know what it was. Now I do. Now I really understand the heart of self-realization. So it's a path of universal love that is leading us and connecting us to our spiritual intelligence. How good is that? To say, and I've said this just the other day, when somebody comes up to me and they ask me why, I say, I don't know, but God knows. Let's just rest in that and get still and silent and see what answers percolate up into our souls. Meditation is not a matter of trying to achieve ecstasy, spiritual bliss, or tranquility. It's not even attempting to become a better person. It's simply creating a space in which we are able to expose and undo our neurotic games, our self-deceptions, our hidden fears and hopes. That was from Shogun Trungpa. So we settle into this journey of the self through self-realization. And I'm going to close and have Judy come up, and I'm going to take you into just very brief, because we have a lot to do. I've already talked longer than I wanted to, but a very brief, mindful experience. So hear these words from Yogananda. Self-realization is the knowing in body, mind, and soul that we are one with the omnipresence of God, that we do not have to pray that it comes to us, that we are not merely near it at all times, but that God's omnipresence is our omnipresence, that we are just as much a part of the divine now as we ever will be. All we have to do is improve our knowing. Self-realization means to know truth through yourself and not through others. By seeking God first, the self-realization of all things, strength, power, prosperity, wisdom, health, and immortality, will be added unto you. So I invite you for a few moments to join me in a brief mindfulness experience. So when you're called into spiritual practice, you shift the physical being. You shift it, you posture it, you bring it into the dignity of knowing that you're about to enter the chambers of the divine. And you're allowing yourself to meditate on light and allow an opening of the gates of your own intuition and illumination. Meditation on light, enhancing our intuition, allowing ourselves to dissolve the boundaries between ourselves and the world and unify the soul's inner light with the transcendent light. So we relax and become centered. Feel your body, feel where you're breathing, and notice if you're experiencing tension or tightness. Let the breath deepen. Relax. Bring ease to the body. Continue breathing deeply, effortlessly. The breath is now breathing you. You're very still. You're very aware of present moment. Imagine above your head is a river of white light flowing. There it is. And it seems to be flowing directly into your body through the crown of your being. And you now see this light entering and filling every cell of the body, warm, radiant, healing. It has the power to illuminate all the dark places within you. At the same time, your body is being filled with light. Be aware also that you are surrounded by the light, a light extending in all directions. Experience yourself filled with light, surrounded by light. Boundaries that separated you once from the world are dissolving. Everything out there is also within you, for you are made of the same cosmic stardust from which all creation has been formed. Experience yourself as part of the light of God's infinite being. Trust in this and let yourself rest in the light, your body becoming lighter and lighter. Now, realize you have become a vessel of light, resting in an endless sea of light. As you inhale, you're bathed by the golden healing light of the divine love. You're radiant, luminous, pure, and boundless. You rest in the vast, shimmering spaciousness of your infinite nature. Be open, dear ones. to any intuitive messages you receive here, for it is the truth. And when you are ready, you allow yourself to return to an ordinary consciousness, but aware once more of body and breath, the place that you occupy here, the room you're in, this beautiful CSLR, aware of time, present moment. But before you open your eyes, take a moment, once more. Receive what you need this day as God speaks with intuitive insight that is only available to you. Open to what is. We bless this moment. We bless this space. This room can barely contain the light. You see, this is what makes our center the beacon of divine light, pouring and aligned with the spiritual intelligence that makes all things new. So as we leave this moment in time, as you start to feel your awareness stirring in the body and you come back into hearing the beautiful music of Judy and sit there in anticipation for the music of George, bless yourself. Bless this moment. Bless this community. Bless the light. Bless life. So thank you, God. So it is. Thank you. George, come on up.
It would be impossible for Sue and I to coordinate what she does and what I do. But from my perspective, my songs seem to somehow, the poetry that I end up putting up here fits what she says. Perhaps that's because it's so universal. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sue. Divine Whispers. I feel in my life that it's not just divine whispers. I think I'm being yelled at. And I do that, and the problem is that I don't listen, whether it's my monkey mind or my stubbornness or my ego or my distraction. I'm always fearing that I'll miss the boat. So I have a short song here that I wrote for this congregation, but also, of course, for my own edification. And as it's hard to have control of a song. Because as you write poetry, if you try to write anything, or if I try to write anything, let's put it that way, it tells me where it needs to go, and so that's what happens. This is called If an Angel Sings. If an angel sings, would you hear? Or put your fingers in your ears? Would you cover up your heart or ask love in to calm your fears? Still the noise of all your woes, quiet all your fears. The angels sing their love to you. They sing that you may hear. Rainbows come and rainbows go. Love's light is ever near. The angels sing that you may know you are precious, loved and dear. Hold it dear, the angel's song sent to sustain you through the years. The angels sing that you may know you are precious, loved and dear. So if an angel sings, would you hear? Or put your fingers in your ears? Would you cover up your heart or ask love in to calm your fears? Short song.
Thank you, George. I love your voice and your message. You know, and this is what the open mic is about as well. You know, George's sharing of the song and then what it means to him. We have a lot of that at the open mic, and so it's very rich experience. So I'm going to invite the ushers forward, and after the offering, I have a few announcements that I left out, so I'm going to share those afterwards. But as we prepare for the offering, just know that this offering is coming from each person's heart. I know that for each and every one of us, that through the mind of God and spirit and love, it's pouring through you as you share your offering with this center, and knowing full well that there's a gratitude in play, a gratitude for the gifts, whether it be the sharing of your time and your heart and your service, the sharing of your earnings, the sharing of your finances. It all goes to support this center and the teaching and the growth of this center. So I release this prayer of offering, knowing full well it is accepted with deep gratitude, and together we say, and so it is.
Thank you.
giving thanks, we recognize and we know from the depths of our soul that we are so blessed. Each individual is so blessed. Our community is blessed. And we give thanks for the precious gifts of your love and your heart and your time. So giving thanks, we know this goes full circle, not just within this community, but to the community at large and to the world at large. So I give thanks on behalf of everyone here, and we release this prayer of gratitude. So together we say, and so it is. Just a few fun little updates. I wanted to let you know that our lending library is back open, and that's why you see more chairs in the sanctuary, because they were being stored there. But we have a rich library, lots of fun stuff to look at, sheets to check out. In fact, I'm in the watercolor class, so I grabbed all the watercolor back books and took them to our class, and people checked them out. So it was kind of fun. There's a new flower arrangement, thanks to Sylvia. So we have them here and then up on the stage. And so we want to give Sylvia thanks. And for the many, many years that Patty Haggard took this spiritual practice on, we want to give her a great round of welcome and thanks, for that work. And I didn't mention that Dr. Mary and Christy are here in service with me as practitioners. And I think Shirley will be walking through the door any moment now. Oh, she's hiding. Oh my God, there's a Shirley spotting. And then the last thing I just wanted to quickly mention, and then we'll have our closing song and Sue will come up. When you come back for the annual meeting, you're going to need to check in with Lori at the desk so she can mark you off as being here, because we need a certain number of folks in attendance or having already voted by proxy to make it a quorum. So George, you're on. Thank you.
Thank you, friends and neighbors. I'm not Johnny Cash. I like to sing this song to send you on your way. It's a long way out and turning home. The rivers all are wide. The path that you have found will carry you to the other side. And the voice that echoes in your heart tells you you must try. So you turn your steps once more into the morning. To the morning where everything is new. To the morning where the light will shine for you. The morning where you try once more to be true. You turn your steps once more into the morning. Your broken vessel overflows. Your heart tells you where you must go. You've boasted of the strength you've shown as if it were your own. Give credit now where credit's due. You never were alone when you opened up your heart into the morning. To the morning where everything is new. To the morning where your light will shine for you. The morning where you try once more to be true. You turn your steps once more into the morning. Well, I'll say no more as life turns into light upon the way. My words cannot explain the truth nor clearly show the way, but loving is the teacher who comes to us each day as we begin to make our way into the morning. To the morning where everything is new, to the morning where the light will shine for you, the morning where you try once more to be true. You turn your steps once more into the morning. Okay, all of you folks who've been so economical with your daylight this morning, I'm very proud of you. Go to the morning where everything is new, to the morning where the light will shine for you, to the morning where you try once more to be true. Turn your steps once more into the morning. You can turn your steps once more into the morning. Have a good day.
That was perfect, George. Thank you. So I know you're eager to go shopping in the bookstore, huh, Lori? Yeah, she's got some new things in there that are lovely to browse through, but even more lovely when you buy them. How's that sound? So enjoy the social hall, and we welcome you back in at 11:30. So please join us. There's a lot of wonderful information and time for you to offer your input as well. So blessings on your day. Thank you.